Hey everyone, quick audio check. I'm still setting up a little bit. I think my starting stream thing is broken, but it looks like the chat box is okay. I'll be ready in like 2 minutes. Let me know if you can hear me all right. If the audio is okay. I'm a little far away from my mic, so maybe it's like this. And if this is good, then we're good to go. Also, if you want to fold along, grab a uh, piece of printer paper, I guess. Something kind of regular. I'm going to try to use printed paper. I actually need to grab one. So yeah, I'll be right back and we'll start soon. Audio is great. Awesome. Okay. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see here. Looks like we're starting to get some chats. Let me check. Okay, is this working? You can see me. That's good. Camera is very slanted. Let's fix that. There we go. All right, things are looking okay. Move my. All right, and let's check out some of these questions. Let's see. Como asks, boys, people often ask us how long it took to create the art piece on display at Paper Tree. What's a good range to tell them? So each of those took over 10 hours. So that's probably like a good estimate. I think the Samurai might have taken closer to 20. The other two you can say just more than 10. Um, but yeah, so that's a good question actually. They did indeed take quite a while. It's funny whenever I talk to non origami folders, they think like 10 to 20 hours is fast to create something like that. And to me, that's like slow, I guess, or to like other folders that seems about normal. But I feel like it's slow, you know. At least I know a lot of people like to fold origami very quickly, or like classically origami was like a 20-minute to 40-minute type thing. Okay, I think my setup's like a little slanted, so I feel slanted myself. Like my face camera looks slanted for some reason. We're just going to deal with that. I think maybe because it's angled. Oh well. Should be okay. Toaster shirt. Hey boys, my birthday was on the first, and I got Origami Design Secrets by Robert J. Lang. Oh, that's an awesome birthday present. Happy birthday! A little late birthday. I hope you enjoy that. There's a lot of good material to read through that book. That's super cool. Wolf Bros, action. What's the hardest piece you ever done? Good question. Probably either the giant Western dragon or the Ryujin. Um, Origami says hello. What's up, Nara? Hello, hello. By the way, Nara, if you want to, hold on, let me see if I can do something. I'm gonna mod you so you can post links. I think if you want to plug your store, whenever you see someone ask about paper in India, um, feel free to post that. Okay, you should be able to post links now, I think. Shout out to Nara, absolutely game changer in the community. Alex and Yuki, you made the assassin origami. Nice, dude. Thanks. That's awesome. So we'll be getting ready to design my first origami for an art house. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. Getting into design, that's another whole world of origami you get to explore. Okay, so as we're getting people in, I was supposed to post about this too. Hold on, let me let me do a few things. Feel free to ask some questions. I'm going to be advertising this live stream on like Instagram and Discord, and I'll try to just get some stuff going. And then we are going to talk about what we're doing today, and maybe I'll just advertise like this, so people have somewhat of an idea of what we're working with as people come in. All right, let me add to my Instagram story really quick. Let's grab the link. All right, there's the mod. Sweet, thanks. Heavy Twig. What book would you recommend for a beginner? Ooh, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of new books out, so there's a lot of good stuff. For a beginner, though, maybe something by John Montrell. The sequences are pretty, beginner friendly normally, or a lot of the books have a beginner level, and they also have like a more intermediate, and it'll tell you which ones are easier and harder. But John Montrell, he's really been, trying to create forms with like simple properties, so they're generally pretty efficient. They work well with any kind of paper. That would probably be a good book for you, and they're a lot of fun. Okay, let's do Instagram first. It's a link. There it is. Live now. And then we'll go to broadcast channel. And then we'll drop it in the Discord. Alrighty. I think that's enough advertisement that we need to do. People are still filtering in. What's up? What's up? Winter930. Thank you for joining the stream. How's it going? Good stuff. Also, shout out to Skyhawk634 in the Twitch chat. All right, another question. Como asks, "Where is the best place to check if you plan to stream each week?" I went through withdrawal. That's probably on my fault. I was trying to finish a whole bunch of videos, and I got some new projects like very suddenly that I was not expecting, but it's gonna be super cool. I'll talk about that a little bit. It actually kind of relates to this rose and why this is a thing. But I will probably be posting it on the YouTube community page, which I totally forgot to do on this stream. Is what I'd like to do is I try to plan to stream Wednesday or Thursday if I think I'm going to be able to do it on Friday. So Wednesday or Thursday, I'll post something on that community channel, probably with like the YouTube live link. And then ideally it'll be there. I think I posted once saying that I wouldn't stream, but in the future I'll post that I'm going to stream. But yeah, I'll try to be consistent every week, at least communicating whether I am or am not. But definitely when I am. If not, it'll show up in the live tab on Fridays. It'll probably always be Fridays. If it's a different day, then it's going to be kind of spontaneous. But yeah, I'll hopefully be able to stream some more. I've got like 3 big-ish projects that I'm trying to wrap up really soon, that like aren't streamable. And then in the future, hopefully there'll be streamable projects that I can work on while doing on stream, kind of like tutorials. But yeah, good question. Nora asked, "Will there be a member review?" I think we did or I guess we did one in January, but I was kind of covering December. Probably for February. So towards the end of February, I'm definitely going to be streaming There's a game coming out that I want to make an origami from. So we're probably gonna be live streaming both origami and the game. We'll probably do it then. Um, but yeah, um, I'll message in the members Discord, Nara, about that, so you can start getting ready. But if you want to just post, I'll put it up there soon. Origami was asked, fully dragon with 30-inch paper. Whoa, that's pretty big. I've been taking my time, so it's taking me a few weeks. Nice. It's good to take your time. I think as you go, you gain confidence with each step. It'll turn out a lot nicer. Realms is folding my assassin. Sweet, dude. Thanks for folding. Benny wants to fold the Ryujin 3.5. I think I'm ready. Cool, man. I wish you the best of luck. You are good at folding. I've seen your stuff, so I think you can do it. Just take your time, and if it gets stressful, take some breaks. It's a long fold. I come ask, what's the community channel? Okay, I think if you go on the YouTube app, let me pull it up. Okay, so if you are on YouTube, you're on my channel, you scroll all the way to the right, it's called posts. If you're on the computer, I think it's called community. It might also be called posts. I think it used to be called community. But at least on the phone, if you see the post channel, right? So like here's 2 weeks ago, I mentioned no no stream because I'm trying to finish this tutorial, which by the way, I think a lot of people really like that one. So if you haven't folded this model yet, hey, the full tutorial is out. Go ahead and try that out. It's actually, it's relatively beginner friendly based on what videos I already have on my channel that teach you how to make double tissue. So like, as long as you can do that, anyone can fold that model basically. Yeah, there's nothing like too crazy as long as you can make yourself double tissue. And even if you can't make yourself double tissue, I've seen some attempts with, like Kami and other papers that were pretty close to success. It's only a 24 grid, so probably the only limitation would be in the fingers, which you can just skip if your paper's not good enough for it. But overall, it's a pretty, low barrier of entry model. And then in the shaping tutorial, I went pretty hard on explaining some of the legs. So I feel like if you learn just watching the shaping tutorial of doing legs, I did a pretty good job showing it. And you can take that into other models. Like the roundness of these legs, they're very volumetric for being so simple, right? But let me show what other projects I've been doing, and then we'll get into folding a rose. So for those here now, you can prep some paper. We're going to try to do a rose, not this complex, but like a slightly simpler version of this with printer paper. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to try. I thought about it in my head, and I think it's going to work. We'll see. And basically, I'll be designing it live based on this rose. I'm basically going to convert this one into a simpler one that ideally can be done with printer paper. But yeah, what have I been doing the past 2 weeks where I couldn't stream? We're finishing this tutorial. That's pretty cool, right? Let's put that. Actually, you can just hang out. Okay, there's another one I can't show yet. Let's not show that one. What else have I done? Okay, these guys. Which this I can advertise. So, some of you might know I participate in teaching at the Origami World Marathon every year, and this one is the sixth marathon, I think. Wow, it's crazy that there's 6 already. And in the first few marathons, or the challenge with the marathon is I have to design something new that I can teach within an hour and a half, give or take 15 minutes or so. So it has to be relatively simple. And some of the problems I've had before is that the model I, design doesn't really reflect my style. So that's the problem I had with like the first or second one, I think. And then since then, I've done it a lot of times. I try to make sure it is something that is very up to my style. So I've done like the wyvern, I've done the little dragon that's sold at Paper Tree right now. I did do a great swordsman, and I hadn't done like a knight in a while. So I thought, hey, I've been doing a lot of lower grid stuff, including a 24 grid knight. Let me see if I can drop it down to 12. Now the 12 grid knight turned out pretty good, but there's a lot of complex folds in here to enable it to be a 12 grid that is almost the 24 grid just on how you sync fold it. You don't pre-crease the 24 grid, you just do a whole bunch of like special transitions and syncs. That's pretty fun, but it would take too long to teach. So I figured I could just add 2 to the grid, so 14 grid, and it would actually make things easier to teach. So this is similar to the fake head empty or the chibi one, if you guys are familiar with that design. And it started as a knight with the fake head empty head. So this was like a square face knight, or someone recently commented about it being a fake sword and shield, right? Or fake swordsman, I guess. There's no shield. Fake swordsman. It's kind of neat. I like that name a lot. But then like it really became a fake swordsman because I was like, wait, I can just shape in a helmet from the square. So it's not changing anything about the design. It's just using the the head a little bit more to add a helmet. And it's not the best looking helmet. I think it's a little bit unproportional, but this is the one I used to teach. And it can be done without any glue or wet folding, so people can fold this pretty quickly. But I was supposed to make a tutorial for it. Like I designed it around December, and then I was supposed to make a tutorial for it. Totally forgot. I had to finish that by January, and then by January I had also promised the sword and shield tutorial, so I did those. Like that's what I was really busy with. And then right as I was finishing these two things, I was also working on another project at the time, which has gone on since November. And that one's really close to being done. The folding's all done. I just have to finish up with the video, and it's a collab, so I need to chat with the guy. I suddenly got hit with another collaboration from probably the biggest YouTuber I've ever worked with. This guy's got like 2.6 million subscribers. Really cool content. He's collabed with some big name creators as well. His video should be posted tomorrow, I think. So I'm not gonna say his name yet, but if you're curious, it's gonna be probably shared on Instagram and probably shared on my posts on YouTube. That video, I'm only a small part of that video, I think. But I'll share it regardless. It's cool, dude. Really cool video idea. And I had to design a rose, one sheet rose, with the Valentine's Day timeline for that collab. So that's how this happened. And it's one square sheet rose for the stem, for the leaf, the flower petals, and then the fun thing with these petals is I added some range to it so that they could be opened up and you could write like a message inside. So like some of these could open up entirely into a square. I forget which one it is. It's one of these, but like there's a lot of layers that you can just open, right? Like that. And the idea was that you'd be able to write a message into it and then, refold it back into a rose. So you'll see that pretty soon. That's really exciting. And I was kind of impressed with myself. I designed this rose in like one day, and then I folded it the next day. Had to change a whole bunch of stuff to make sure it worked. I was afraid it wasn't going to work. But it's actually a pretty neat design, right? So that takes us to today. And you all, what we're folding. And I'll make this into a square. Let me just do one of these real quick. while I explain and then start catching up on chat, is I think we can fold a very similar rose, basically the same flower, but a short stem, live, and it shouldn't be very long. So like this stem is a 24 grid, but it's only really a 24 grid to fit the stem and the leaf attached to the rose. The rose part, I think we can reduce the grid a whole lot. And I'll show you how. So you'll get a little lesson in design, and then also you'll get to maybe fold along with me if this works, which I hope it does, and it shouldn't take too long. But the big flower is a 24 grid, so this will probably be, I'm hoping it's, you know, around 12 grid, probably going to be a little bit bigger, but we're going to see. We're going to try to make it as small as possible and still have a stem. And it'll be like a cute rose that actually has a stem. And we'll go from there. All right, so we have that. That was my whole explanation for the start of stream. People who are tuning in, welcome in. Go grab a square. We are folding a rose today since it's Valentine's Day. And hopefully, ideally, this big of a square should work, which is just printer paper. Let's check chat really quick. So, let's see. Actually, okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a tissue. For some reason, whenever I start streams and I start talking, my nose gets really itchy. So, okay, I'll be right back. I'll be back real soon. All right, we are back. Let me switch over to this, and we can start checking out the crease pattern. Here we go. Let me simplify some stuff. All right. Got our chat. Okay, read chat. You can see Ori edit here. All right, and then before we begin, let's read chat a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to expand. This might mess up my screen. Let's see, is that mess things up? It did a little bit. Let's fix that. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, we got some questions here. Let's see. Selena, yo, boys, just woke up to the stream. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Toaster Shirt, what game? Elden Ring. Oh man, when does Night Rain come out, Toaster Shirt? Do you know? Because I really want to play that. I still need to finish the first DLC, low key. But that sounds like a lot of fun. Coincidences. Okay, cool. It's my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Selena. Happy birthday. My birthday's on Tuesday. That's pretty close. A lot of February birthdays. Origami says, I've been trying to design some models, but had trouble in which software to use and how to turn an idea into a functional crease pattern. Any tips? So if you're not familiar with software, what I recommend is using OriEdit. Follow the plant psychologist tutorial on how to use it, which is all these buttons. And that includes the C8 and V. And then what you should try to do is find some simple crease patterns and try to redraw it. So even if it's like a crane, right? You want to try to redraw a crane. So, you know, that would be, and that way you can just get used to the controls mostly. But like knowing how to do a crane will start to teach you flat foldability, right? So like a lot of people know it's roughly bird base. This is how I draw bird bases, just to get the intersections with one drawing tool. Sorry, this is definitely a tangent, but I'm gonna give you a quick example. I think this will be useful for other people too. And even if you're not a designer, knowing how to do this is probably pretty helpful. It'll just add to your origami knowledge level in general. Right. So like a lot of people will see this and think, oh, this is enough for a crane. But like now what is the actual mountain valley assignments? And it's not all the lines filled in. It's gonna be something like this. And like here and here, and then actually let's not have these as the faced ones. Let's have this way. And then there you go, like this. And I think this will fold. There you go. So, I mean, this isn't the full crane, but this is just a bird base, right? So even just knowing how to do that, and you'll start getting a hang of how to draw with flat foldability in mind. And once you can do that, you can then create crease patterns that work. So for example, this rose crease pattern that we're going to be looking at, right? If I fold this, it folds because I assigned the mountain valleys correctly. I did the hinges correctly. I know how to fold out this. Like this is just a flap that's folded out to the left. I know how to draw that. So if you start drawing other crease patterns that are guaranteed to work, then you can, cross-check with yourself. That's super, super handy knowledge. Arm rounds finished the assassin base, starting to shape it now. What are some tips? Ooh, tips on 50 centimeters. I think I nailed. Nice. 50 centimeters is a good size, I believe. I think I did one of my first ones with that size. Some tips. I would start with my shaping tutorial. I don't know if you're trying to do it from tutorial or not, but that shaping tutorial has so much knowledge that I just drop about shaping in general, especially for like a night type, fold. So start with that. Other than that, my biggest advice is to look at a reference of like some sort of knight that you like. Oh, I think I'm answering two questions at once. The game I'm playing is Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has really good references for armor. A lot of my knights are based off of Monster Hunter armors. Really cool game as well. But find a reference that you want it to kind of look like, and then make sure it's a good reference. So try to find a difference between a bad reference and a good reference. If you have a bad reference, it's going to be a bad finish. If you have a good reference, there's a chance it'll be a good finish. If that makes sense. That's my advice. That's kind of general shaping advice too. Voice, if I make head empty, will you send me crease pattern for head empty too? Yes, I will. If you can email me or send me a message on Instagram, and I will send you the second crease pattern. How did I fold my region 3.5? I practiced a whole bunch, and I knew it was going to be easy by the time I got to it, because I understood crease patterns and was designing already. And so I over practiced 40 region. Want to share what game? Yeah. So, okay, I think I just answered that. Monster Hunter Wild is coming out, so I'm going to be playing that. Okay, I think I responded to Sabrina. You go crease pattern too. Yeah, I'll email it to you if you finish folding it first. Yeah. Okay. Cool. He'll post it publicly. No. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, it took me a long time to get to that question. Comes out in May. Okay. Cool. So I have till May to finish the DLC. What's up, Mark? Hey, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Mark, the best mod. Miriam, hello. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Just finished Square to Samurai. Oh, awesome, Evan. Thanks for folding, man. That's good stuff. Daniel, hello. Thanks for tuning in. I'm doing pretty good. I hope you're doing good as well. Got a fun Valentine's Day event. And since we have some new people, I'm just going to quickly show. We're going to be folding rose today. And what I'm doing first is redesigning this rose, which is a pretty complex rose that I have the crease pattern for here. And we're going to make it a little bit simpler. So we can kind of start with the design portion of this. And essentially what makes the rose is, let me make sure you guys can see this. Okay, you can see it. It's in the middle. These flaps, I would say, that are adjacent to like this open area is the petals. I think if I explain these are the petals, it's kind of obvious that it's the petals. And so in total, there are 5 petals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one is like a half petal because it has to use this transition unit to go into what's the leaf. This is the leaf down here. Now, the only reason it's like this, which it has that weird transition, is we needed 5 petals with a long stem. And that was for that collaboration I was talking about earlier. And as you can see, the other thing about this collaboration is I had to teach someone who doesn't do origami how to fold this. So we sacrificed some efficiency to make it an easier fold because starting from a 24 grid, which this is a 24 grid, it's a lot easier than forcing someone to do like a 20 grid or like an 18 grid. It'd be super cursed and everything. But now, you guys have folded origami. So we can make this a little bit simpler. And we can just do 5 petals with a stem, no leaf. And it's going to be pretty cool. So what I can actually do is copy most of this and start with it. And I already have kind of an idea. So we need 5 petals that are the same width to essentially get a similar looking rose. But we don't need all of this. Don't need any of this. We definitely don't need that. Right? So let's just start from here. Imagine it's like this. Let's cut all this stuff off. And then basically, that was full. Like that's like that. Let's turn this off for now. We also have this extra bit that's completely wasted. We don't need that either. And additionally, instead of having this extra leaf here, we only need 5 petals, right? So I can have a 5th petal here. And I can completely remove one of these. So now what we're left with is I can shorten the whole grid to be this big. And that cuts off quite a bit. So let's see how big this grid is in total. And this should be able to turn into a row. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Beautiful 16 grid. 16 grid. Look at that. So this is going to be a rose with a stem. And I can just finish off this crease pattern real quick. Let's use this tool. Oops. Draw it a little faster. Like that. Fill in the missing ones. Like this. And we got that. And then we just need to turn them the right color like this. We can check, make sure this is right. Just like that. And then this. Boom. All right. And ideally, yeah, now this is like a decent rose. With like the rose to stem ratio is pretty decent here. That's not bad at all. Right. Essentially, the finished rose will basically be like that. So the rose that big and then the stem that big. So we're going to start with printer paper because I think it can be done with printer paper. It might not look the prettiest, but hey, if we can fold it with printer paper, that's pretty good, right? How are y'all holding up? Let's see. Hope you had fun folding the STS. Oh, yeah. Mark is the co-designer to the STS, so shout out. And Mark says thanks too. That's awesome. How long did it take me to get to the Ryujin 3.5? So there was one I did in 2019 maybe, and I was not ready for it, so I stopped partway. Didn't finish that one, and then I just didn't worry about Ryujin for a while. I think like for 2 years after that. And by then, I'd gotten really good at origami in general. So I went back to Ryujin. It was like during the pandemic, so I had a lot of time. It took me like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of folding a lot every day. It's like 90 hours total over 3 weeks or something like that. But it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to step out of frame and blow my nose really quick, guys. I'll be right back. All right. Should I shape the scales? Benny, that's a good question. You should shape the scales if you start with a paper that's about 1.2 meters or larger. If it's smaller than that, then shaping the scales might ruin your reagent just because the paper won't be equipped to do all those crazy sinks and transitions and stuff. Unless you're really confident, like I was, and practice shaping scales that are really, really tiny, then maybe you can go for it. But I think it looks good on 3.5. So just use a proper paper size and shape those scales. It's pretty fun. What's the paper size for head empty? I used about a 45 to 50 centimeter paper. I think that's about perfect, around 50 centimeters. Recently found out that my birthday's on World Origami Day. Oh, awesome, dude. That's a fun birthday. Made a rose by Kawasaki-san. Yes, that is legendary rose. That's a fun one. All right. Let's get started. So if you haven't already, start with your 16 grid. I don't think I need to tell you how to fold a 16 grid. If you don't know how to fold 16 grid, the rest of this rose might be a little hard. So, but I do have a grid folding tutorial. So you can dip out of the stream and watch that and then come back and fold. Okay, my square is not it's very square, but that's okay. That's what I get for doing that quickly. It'll be square enough. Wish I showed my friends your origami and their jaw drop. Oh, thank you. That's a very nice reaction. It's pretty cool. You know, maybe they'll be interested in trying to learn that too, and you can help them out. And then you've started an origami community, which is pretty awesome. Benny, it's 120 centimeter. Perfect. That's a great size. Definitely shape the scales. I think Fusion 3.5s, right? It's such a grandiose design. My philosophy is that you should treat it that way if you were to fold it. So give it the best, treatment you can do possible, which is folding it well out of a square, not two rectangles. Shaping it well, shape the scales well, shape the claws well. Give it your all because you're spending so much time. Might as well, go all out. What's the best ways to learn the Ryujin 3.5? Is by not worrying about learning the 3.5. I think what you should do is learn, just get really good at origami first. Be able to fold, have the confidence that you can fold any crease pattern. And as long as if you can do that to yourself, which is it's not too hard to do, you just have to fold maybe 40 crease patterns and you'll be pretty good. So if you're confident you can fold any crease pattern and you're really good at making double tissue, then you can try Ryujin. And by that point, I think you'll know that you can do Ryujin pretty well. So over preparing for that is the best way to learn. So, I don't think Ryujin should be taught necessarily as is. Now, there is some guides which are very helpful. I've used them too, actually, to teach you the sequence. But I think if you were to use them and not be ready not be that great at origami yet, you'll be able to fold the Ryujin, but it's not going to look very good. And again, to the point I'm saying, why waste the time spending so many hours to make a bad Ryujin, right? Might as well get really good at origami and then make a really good Ryujin because you know how to do it already, and then it's a lot easier. Now, you don't have to listen to me. You can just try Ryujin straight up. But I'll tell you, the best Ryujins are from those who've practiced enough origami in general. And I do see a lot of bad Ryujins. I see a lot of bad Ryujins. I see a lot of bad Ancient Dragons. That number is reducing because I think a lot of people are getting better and better at origami in general. But it's not good to rush into a really hard model like that, because once you complete it, and if it doesn't look that good, you might burn out and stop folding origami. And that's the worst thing to happen, is if you stop origami. So just take that to heart, I know a lot of young people just really want to fold Ryujin very quickly, but I recommend them to take their time and learn origami properly, and you'll have a lot better experience. I made head empty with 10 centimeter paper. Oof. Well, I hope maybe you're able to shape it well, but I don't think it'd be able to shape very well with 10 centimeter paper. But we'll see. I haven't got one to gift. That's okay. I don't have anyone to give the rose. Or you can give the rose to a family member. I'm sure they'll like it. I've given my mom a few pentagon roses as a gift in the past. And I gave one to my grandma too. I don't like making the grid because it's a waste of time. He has 96. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can't make the box head, but I can make a head empty. That's funny. I think the box head is a lot easier than the head empty. Especially since that one has a tutorial. And can be made from like any paper. It's tiny. I can imagine. Boys, I don't think you need to fold the grid all the way. Oh, you're right, Mark. It is too late for that. You're so right. Well, okay. Because I'm expecting people to fold along, just fold the full 16 grid, and then after you fold one of these roses, don't fold the full 16 grid. You're so right, Mark. I totally lapsed that thought. It is too late though. Might as well just fold the rest of 16 grid. That's a little too locked in. Boys, why do you stream so late? I used to stream later, so this is actually early. But I work a job in the daytime. I'm a software engineer, right? So I can't really stream earlier. The only time I can stream earlier is on weekends. But a lot of times I use Friday night to work on projects. Even later. So a lot of times, like, it's pretty bad. You shouldn't do this, but I'll sleep at like 6 a.m., 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. after I finish some projects. And then I try to get 6 hours of sleep. So I can't wake up super early if I sleep that late. And then since it's the weekend, generally I like to sleep in a little bit. But at least that way I've like finished everything. Just have a weekend to enjoy. But I used to stream a lot later. Those of you who've been watching me for years know that I used to stream at 2 a.m. I used to start at 2 a.m. and then end at like 4 or 5. So, and that was kind of crazy. And basically the people who would watch me were people from like Indonesia and India. And then later into the stream, the Europeans will wake up because it'll be morning and then they'll watch me as well. But this way at 8, I can get some of the West Coast of America. So it's a little bit of a different audience. And then in one of the phases of my streaming, I actually streamed at the American time zone and then again later. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was too much streaming. I don't quite get enough viewers yet to commit to 2 streams that push really late into the night. But hey, maybe one day, right? Maybe if you have 1 million subscribers one day, we'll have a good reason to stream that long. But for now, not yet. Oh, Heavy Twig said, best way to learn origami. Oh, okay. Best way to learn origami, I think for free. The free answer is YouTube. So watch Joe Nakashima. Try to fold as many of his as you can. Watch Tadashi Mori. Try to fold as many of his models you can. And then watch my videos after that. Ideally, you'll be pretty good by then. Then watch my ultimate paper guide to make yourself double tissue paper. Save up money, work a job, save up money for the materials. It's pretty cheap. Then you can start on complex stuff, and I have plenty of complex tutorials. If you fold all of my tutorials, I think you'll be pretty decent at origami. And then you can look on the internet anywhere for crease patterns or start designing. And then you have infinite things you can fold, which is pretty fun. I bought Anis's model. Nice, dude. Yeah, I saw he was selling some more of this stuff. I was really sad. I wanted to buy his what was that complex one he did recently? I think for the Year of the Snake. Someone else bought it before I could buy it. Since when do you know about complex mode origami? I discovered complex origami. So my first YouTube video, if you go all the way back to the beginning of my channel, my first YouTube video is folding Darkness Dragon by Tadashi Mori. That was my introduction to complex origami, was trying to fold that and making a YouTube video from it. That's how I got into it. We're on the West Coast, thank you. Yeah, so this time works. It does get late for even West Coast people too, but at least it's not too bad. Okay, so we're gonna start folding. If you guys have a 16 grid, you can start folding with me. Let me get Oriedit on the screen actually. Let's see if I can just add that so we can see the crease pattern at the same time. Okay, so let me make this a little smaller. Let's put it in the corner here. I know this isn't like the greatest view, but I think this is enough, and then you can check with me. But basically, we count, like if you look at your grid, and you go 4 down, right? This is where essentially our petals start. Unless we already have this diagonal folded from when I cut the square out, so let's use this. And honestly, we can just like, actually we can pre-crease part of it like this too. But we're just gonna crease in the petals. Oh, actually, that was not where I'm supposed to go. Is that where it's supposed to go? I'm not sure. Let's start from, that was not where I was supposed to pre-crease. It's okay, we're gonna pre-crease down here. Like this. So it's just like down and up 3. A couple times. Well, this one actually just crosses through like this. And then we get our last couple petals over here. This is a pretty simple model. Boys, you know Origami World? What are you talking about, Origami World? The World Marathon? Is that what you're asking about? Or is it a book, maybe? Mark says, always try to fold things that you like so you never get bored. That is also very true. Always fold stuff you like. That's my folding philosophy as well. Snake Hunter. Oh, yeah, that's what it's called. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to buy that one. That's how you make your best origami, like making it a collection. Yeah. So, you know, it's pretty fun. What are you making? I just joined. I am making a rose. Yeah, so someone answered that. Let me show you so this is the big rose. We're making a smaller one, which is basically if you cut this off, I think it'll end up like this. So we've pre-creased it. I don't know. Is anyone folding along? You can type in chat if you're folding along. It looks like I also have a mountain fold here. I think it's 3 units down. Well, we'll correct it if it's wrong. I think it's like this. That might not be right. That's okay. We'll collapse everything else first. I think basically to collapse it, right? You fold this. And then, well, you can do it a couple ways. You could fold it. You could start like this and then just sync fold from here. Or you can just like start from the bottom corner and pleat it. Like this. And then do things later. I think that's what we'll do. If you followed the crease pattern class, this should be very easy to collapse. Nothing tricky here. This model has color changing petals. Yes, I think so. It's not intentional, but you could maybe, like you might accidentally see the other color through when you fold it. I haven't tested it with color change paper. Since I folded and designed this for a guy who was doing origami for the first time, I told him to just make a single color paper and not worry about the color change. But in theory, you could limit it to one color and then use color change for the stem. I haven't tested it yet, but you definitely could. You'd have to be a little bit careful, but it is not out of the realm of possibilities. Okay, so the fold I missed, actually, and this might color change it on accident. It's not 2 up, or 3 up, but it's 2 here. So valley fold this corner in like that. Close it back up. And then I also don't show this in the crease pattern, but this reverse folds in. And then now we have the other reverse folds to do. So that starts on this side and they only go 2 up. Like this. Stuck in the fold. Hey, Steve, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you, man. Happy Valentine's to you, too. I hope you had a great one. Kian, I joined late. Can you please tell me what we're doing? We are folding a rose. It is a simplified version of the rose in the thumbnail. Or this one. So if you want to fold it, and since you're a little behind, I have the crease pattern on screen. It's a little small, but it's a 16 grid. I think the crease pattern is big enough for you to tell, it's pretty simple. It's 4 units down is where those valley folds are for the grid, and then it's 3 units mountain valley for the V's for the petals. You get something looking like this. But if you're late, no worries. You don't have to fold along. It's totally okay. We're kind of done with the collapse already. The crease pattern has a heart in it. Oh, it does kind of. Yeah, the petals are kind of like heart-shaped. I see it. What size paper? This is printer paper. Yes. Okay. I need one more reverse fold. I think printer paper is not the best, but we're going to try just to keep it easy. I think this is still can be done with double tissue to make like a really thin stem. We're gonna need to work some magic on this printer paper a little bit, I think. So if you're using printer paper like me, maybe get your glue handy. We might need it. Or methyl cellulose. Okay, so I think I'm gonna use methyl cellulose for the stem. I don't think it'll stay put. If you don't have methyl cellulose, you can actually, foil would be really good for this. Where's my paintbrush? We're gonna try to avoid using glue, but I'm gonna use some methyl cellulose. The first step is basically valley fold the stem down and then fold it in half. So that's why we are going to use some methyl cellulose so we can wet fold this. I guess technically water should work too. I used to, or how I practiced shaping in the past was folding things out of printer paper and then using water because I didn't understand the concept of methyl cellulose and I didn't want to use glue yet. Now I don't really care about using glue or not using glue. I think glue is totally fine. But methyl cellulose is fun. And it kind of takes me back to the days of using water. I think if you scroll back in one of my Instagram posts of unicorn, maybe. I think Joe Nakashima unicorn. I did that with printer paper and water. That was like 2016. Something like that. Methyl cellulose treated printer paper, right? Isn't this crazy? Okay, so we fold this down. It actually helps a lot. Getting a little bit wet. I'm hoping it doesn't explode on me here, because the paper's getting pretty thick, and then methyl cellulose is making the printer paper a little bit weaker. But in theory, once it dries, it'll be pretty crisp. I'm going to fold the thin part in half first so that it has some pathing for the thick part. All right. Love your streams. I'm a big fan. Thank you, Kian. Unwary healer, but oh, that's a bot. Twitch has so many bots. Okay. But thank you, Kian. And yeah, for people watching and just tuning in, this video will be saved, so you can come back to it. Fold. It's not really a tutorial. It's kind of a tutorial, but not really. It's like a fold along. Is it accordion grid? Yes, 16 grid. Fill would be yeah, I think foil would actually be really good for this. Okay, I'm gonna grab some clips. So we can this might be too many. Just keep the bottom part closed a little bit as it dries. Don't think I really methyl cellulosed it enough, actually. But later on, like, the big brain strat would be to get it really wet and then just twist it a whole bunch and let it dry twisted, and then it'll look more like a stem, a flower stem, but we don't got time for that, right? Okay, so now we have our petals. So our petals can fan out basically around that stem. You can kind of see the vision a little bit. Oh, I might have reverse folded this the wrong way. Hold on. Oh, I did. Oops. Okay, while it's not dry yet, let's undo that. It's supposed to go... Is that right? Yes, I did do it the wrong way. Okay, it's supposed to fold down. My bad, guys. My bad. Oops. I literally just did this yesterday. Okay. Thankfully, methyl cellulose dries slowly. Okay, because our rose needs to spiral the other direction. Okay, that was a close call. Okay, let me, while this is setting, I definitely made the printer paper really weak by doing that. So we're going to let it dry a little bit as I explain how to do the petals. So the petals, it's going to be, we're going to start with this one. So the one that is to the left of the stem. And let me zoom. Okay, so it's going from this position, and it's going to make like a curve. Kind of like that. And then there's also kind of be like a valley fold that goes that way a little bit. That one's less important. It kind of just happens on the first one. It doesn't really happen exactly like that on the rest. But while it's drying, like, I'm just going to fold this in a little bit like this. And you can just start the valley fold from the corner. Since the rest is curved, the curve will happen naturally once we start to spiral it. So here, I'm going to let it dry a little bit more. I'm worried I'm just going to rip the stem off of the rose and then we'll have to fold another one. So let me just read chat for a little bit and wait for that to dry a bit better. So ask a bunch of questions, guys. Let me talk to you all a little bit. Let me see if I missed anything so far too. Reversing glue on printer paper. Yeah, that's a yikes. Hey, it's fine though, right? It's totally fine. Can I use double tissue? Yes, double tissue is very good. It's gonna be way better. This one is double tissue. It's basically the same flower. Using kami, I think kami is good too. I just don't have my large kami with me at the moment, so I can't. This one was kami though. This is actually the 24 grid one. That I used to teach the YouTuber how to shape a little bit. But the only thing with the kami is the spiral doesn't look super good, but I also went super fast on it. So now if you use kami, actually with the simplified one, I think it'll be okay. That one was the like more complex one, so it was a lot thicker. I got the base of the sword and shield on a McDonald's breakfast wrapper. Oh, hey, sick, dude. I think that paper actually will be pretty nice. It's, essentially sandwich paper. A little bit waxier, but double tissue would be great. I don't have it. That's okay. You can make some nice small one later, I guess. It's good that this wasn't PVA. Yeah, if I used PVA, I don't think I would not have been able to undo it like that. It would have dried already. What's your favorite origami I've ever folded? Ooh, good question. Maybe we can do some flexing. No, my answer to that changes all the time. So I think normally it's head empty. But I really like this one. I grabbed two. Okay, maybe I have three. It's hard to pick one favorite. I really like this guy, especially after I reshaped him. So before the first fold, it's the same fold, but the first post of it, I had no knees, and I got called out by some friends to fix it, and so I fixed it. There's knees now. Like I have a better comprehension of knee joints. I think this one is the best face in a model that I've done. I also really like Square Twist Samurai, and I need to fix the stand a little bit. Came off the wire. I'll have to fix that. But Square Twist Samurai, very cool. And then Head Empty, probably after that. Or alongside that. I also really like Lost Guardian, but I think it has a lot of mistakes. Okay, it's still kind of drying. Should I leak some projects? You guys want to see upcoming stuff? Probably shouldn't show one of them, but actually, I probably shouldn't show either one. But we'll see. Let's see. Worked really well. So, okay. Yeah, the stream is saved. Not to change subjects, but Kimiro's new Gundam wings is folded. Yeah, no, it is. It's so crazy. You guys should check it out if you haven't yet. Just look up Origami Kimiro. I think you can search it just on Google and it'll probably pop up. It's one of the craziest origami designs out there. Really efficient use of a gigantic grid, and it's super clean. Does head empty need thin or thick paper? Medium thickness paper. You don't want to use super thin paper, otherwise it looks really like crunched, I guess. And then the head will be really hard to get it clean. It's gonna look all wrinkly. But you don't want super thick paper either because it's still a complex model. I used a double tissue base, or it's a fancier double tissue, but I think double tissue works. It's a little bit on the thinner side, but it's decent enough. Said you had to finish DLC on Elden Ring. What boss are you on? I'm on the lion dancers. I'm not very far into it. I've beaten the main part of the game though, so my save is spoiler alerts after I defeated the Elden Beast. And I think I've cleared all the other main bosses except for I forget his name, but it's the dragon with all the heads. But like I've killed Melania. I've done the lava castle serpent. I forget the name too. Lava manor. No, whatever it's called. But I've done most of the stuff in the base game on that save. I just didn't have time for the DLC too much when it came out. Kian just completed your bunny girl model. Awesome, Kian. Okay, speaking of bunny girls, this might be a little bit risque, but it's Valentine's Day. But I owe a friend, and he requested a bunny girl from me, so I'm designing a new one. So it's not done yet, and it's like it's not closed back or anything. It's kind of a simple bunny girl, but I'm working on a new bunny girl. I don't know if I'm going to post this one or not. We'll see if it turns out, but I think he's going to like it a lot, hopefully. It's a little spicy. It's definitely a lot spicier than my other bunny girl. Making two-headed dragon right now. Awesome, dude. I have some super thin swamp green cabbage paper. Okay, don't go super thin. I think the thin cabbage paper, which is around 15 GSM, way too thin for head empty. The head empty, it's a relatively efficient design except for the torso, where there's a weird flap inverting out through the back. The rest of it is not very thick, so I'd rather use a thicker paper than too thin of a paper. Save that swamp green cabbage paper maybe for like a praying mantis or something like that. Got a technical question for you. When you made a crease pattern and you press the fold button, sometimes red areas show up on a crease pattern. Do you know? Yes. Okay. So that's a great question, Hans. Let's do a little demonstration here. So let's take our rows, right? So the red is called a self intersection. And what is a self intersection? Let me show you actually on. Okay, it might actually be hard to do on this rows. Let me try to replicate what a self intersection could be. So we have like this is kind of what the folded one looks like. If I were to like okay, actually maybe in the stem, right? If I were to valley fold the stem in and then try to valley fold it in again, right? So like if I valley fold in and it's flat, but then I try to like valley fold another one that's a larger, so like valley fold, let me grab my pen. The first valley fold is here, and the second valley fold is there, right? If I were to actually do that, it would first fold this one, and then in this part, like the top would be scrunched inside of the paper. That's what would happen in real life. Now in OriEdit, if I drew just those two valley folds, it might look okay on the crease pattern, but then when you fold it, you'll get a self intersection because there's a lot of missing stuff that's not done. Let me see if I can replicate it. I don't know if I can actually do that, but we can try. So I think if I do this, and then this, right? So I'm basically doing that valley fold that I just described. I think this will self-intersect. Yeah, so now it's self-intersecting, right? So, and it's telling you where it's kind of running in, but basically you see that red, that's a self-intersection, even though it says it's correct. So does that, hopefully that makes sense a little bit. And so generally if that happens and like it exists, then you probably just need to add more creases to like not have it self-intersect. The hard part is when you have like middle flaps and you have no idea where they're going. Generally what I'll do is I'll fold them out like this, right? So now it's folded out. That would be for a middle flap. This is an edge flap, so it doesn't really matter. Sometimes that works to stop self-intersections. Sometimes they cause other self-intersections. Yeah, it's hard. Let's see. Will I make a tutorial for it? Kian, are you asking about this rose? This is kind of the tutorial. I think I answered that too late, or I read this too late. I'm not sure. Can I show my region? Oh, you guys want to see the region? I'll show the region. Can I put the crease pattern on screen for the bunny girl or the rose? I can show you the bunny girl. Origami design tips or a chance for a tutorial. Which model origamist? I'm so sorry. You mean for the bunny girl? New bunny girl. Okay, you guys want to see new bunny girl? I probably won't do a tutorial. I think if I did a tutorial, I'd get banned. Just kidding. It's not that risque. But generally my content's very like PG-13. I think that one it's crossing the line a little bit. Actually, I folded your flat face with Unryu Harry gave me out. Oh, nice. Okay, so that Unryu is pretty thin, but I'm glad it worked. Steve, I've been getting this a lot with my designs over the past few months. Clean crease pattern, but errors. When I try to correct it, it's messy. Yeah, so that's just like a trial and error thing as you use the software. And as you keep designing, Steve, especially with some of your designs that are non-axial, I think, where like the penguin, right? It's two like the same side. It's folded in half, right? It's book fold basically. Those ones you can run into more self intersections because it intersects through where it's valley folded in half, and those are kind of hard to resolve. Stuff that's axial, like I guess this is technically not axial either, but like box pleat stuff is a lot easier to solve than other things. Okay, so let's do this. I'll put the bunny girl crease pattern on screen. You guys can screenshot it. This is how I designed it. Started with the stick figure, right? Let me turn CMV off. This was the first attempt. I basically copied and pasted my Tingyun design, which has ears. And then I corrected it for like this is the dress, more like a mini skirt, legs, hands. I actually was thinking of not doing fingers, but it works, I guess. This is hair. This is the ears. The ears, it's more like this actually. Like there's some weird stuff going on here. It's more like this, and then this like isn't correct either. What is it? It's like I think it's that. I forget. There's something I changed in this area. But okay, well, this is roughly the crease pattern. Just know it's like it's not really gonna flat fold, and it's not super correct. I think the bottom's correct, and it's just like the hair. Something changes in the hair so that the ears are a little bit longer. There you go. I know it's not a full crease pattern, right? This is a 32 grid. It's actually this is fine. Let me. I need to do this with my crease pattern files more so I don't forget. 32. Okay, so you guys can look at that while I grab my region. And then I think the rose is just about dry, so we can keep going. All right, hopefully y'all screenshotted that. I'll leave it on the side a little bit longer. Region. So I shaped the scales. This is 90 centimeters. These are fake shaped scales. I found a way to just swivel fold instead of do the sync folds. And it lets you, you get like 90% of the visual effect. But as this fold has aged, the scales are starting to lift. So, that might be a unforeseeable issue with shaping it the way I did. But I think it still looks pretty good. It doesn't look as good as when I first folded it, but it's pretty decent. You can see where the scales are starting to unfold around here. The head could be a little better too, but small. And this guy's traveled, hundreds of miles with me over the past 4 years. So it's taken a little bit of damage, but from afar, you can't tell. Can I get the rose crease pattern on screen? Yeah, let me switch it back to the rose. And I'll do a bigger rose too, so you can see. And let me do this. So this is 16. And then this one is 24. But I think you just worry about the 16 grid one. Just starting to make the rose. Okay, so I'll leave that on screen. We'll give my rose a little bit more time to dry. It's not fully dry yet, but hopefully it's good enough. It's kind of sketch, honestly. Part of it is ripping a little bit. I think it'll survive. At least I really hope so. It's time for me to leave. Have a nice full night. Oh, have a great night, Mark. Thank you for tuning in for a little bit. Always great seeing you, man. So you said this is kind of funny. Someone outside Origami Design would be following this conversation. Like, that's so funny, dude. I like your gallery worthy bunny girl. Oh, okay. Let me show that. I've only folded one since this one, but this one by far is the best one I've done. Super clean, right? How old is the Ryujin? I think I folded in. Did I finish in 2021? Maybe? I think 2021. It's like 3 or 4 years old. You know what's interesting though is when I displayed this bunny girl, originally the inspiration for this bunny girl was from anime as like a half human species. There's like a lot of that in anime. Very wholesome, right? Wholesome bunny girl. The other one is not, but this one is. But someone told me they thought I was like, I don't know, being a little misogynistic, I guess, for some reason. But like I get it. And they felt uncomfortable enough. So I haven't brought it back. But it is what it is. I think after I explained, they're like okay with it. But I was like, maybe I shouldn't bring this around more. If people feel uncomfortable. But I think it's a cool design. At least this one is. The other one, maybe not so much. It's a little risque again. But I think it's fashionable. I think the other one will actually be fashionable. Like I probably shouldn't show it too much on stream, but I'm not trying to offend anyone, you know what I mean? Where'd I get the cupboards in the back? I got them from IKEA. Finished folding the rows. Nice. I've wanted to make origami of anime, but it's complicated. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard, man. I'm still learning too to make them look correct, I guess. I think I looked at some of my old folds. One of the problems I have is like the hip to shoulder ratio is not correct. And it looks really strange. But like anime proportions are also really strange. So. Is my fish possible? What do you mean by possible, Heavy Twig? I have a tutorial for it. It's pretty easy. You don't want to get canceled. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it for now. Let's go back to this. Probably gonna fold SDPA soon. Ooh, that's a fun one. Okay, so we are on the shaping now for the rows. This area is a little weak still, so hopefully it's okay. But we're basically going to be using the stem to help us twirl the rows a little bit. And so what I'm going to start with is, again, valley folding along this corner. And then once I have the corner, I'm going to like twist and pull upwards. So it's not just going around, it's going around and up a little bit, like a spiral. And if you folded other roses, this is like a similar maneuver. And then that's what gets this rest of the curve crease around like that. And you want it to try to go around the stem. Now, it might not fully go around the stem, and that's kind of okay. Just the nature of us using box pleat. But something like this. Right? And then we're going to do it for the other petals. But when we do it, so I'm going to start the corner again. And I'm kind of getting that curve, ready. You're going to have to curve it around like the first one, but you don't want this corner to be exactly in the other one. When you curve it, it's kind of going to sit like this next to it. But okay, let me get this one good again. So it's going to change a little bit where all those creases sit. So it's like not fully in the corner anymore with the twist. It's kind of like staggered. But the goal is that it pushes still into the base here. Right where this crease is, that's where it's twisting. So that way it's spiraling around the same spot. And then do it the next one. Now the next one has some additional things going with it, so just kind of have to ignore that a little bit. Get the next one. You can see like as we get these more and more, we're able to kind of get the curl more. And then with this side, as we get more and more, we're going to want to push it into itself so that the spiral can continue more and more. And you're going to get some new creases along this end, which you can kind of space out and then just adjust. And you might have to like crease some random things to get them to stay in place. And we're doing this for 4 petals. And the 5th petal, we're not doing the same way. So what we're still going to start it like the others, but instead of spiraling it in this direction, we're going to fold it the other direction. So like it still does this. Still does this, but it valley folds the other way to tuck. And I think I can tuck it like a little bit harder. And this will go back around the stem. And from there, you just want to get the spiral relatively tight. It can be looser towards the top, but just like around the base here, you want it to be pretty tight. And try to get it so that the stem and the spiral is in the center here. And ideally, you can hold it like this all together. And it's like not super tight. But from here, what we're going to do is if you have glue or methylcellulose, you're going to add methylcellulose in between the layers at the base here. I should probably use glue so it dries a little faster. But you don't want to glue it too much. You just want it on the bottom. So I think methylcellulose works a lot better for this. And basically what happens, because methylcellulose changes the memory of the paper, the spiral will stay. But we'll be able to freely manipulate the petals on the top to basically open up our rows. So I'm going to put it in the bottom. And then I am going to actually put it in the center of the spiral as well, really deep in some of these creases, like as deep as I can. Let me get some more methylcellulose in here. What's up, Crafty Bubbles? You like cat? Yeah, please don't spam. I tried to do Sato's Rose 3 times and broke down. Hey, the Sato Rose is the spiral. It's hard to hold everything all at once. I had a lot of trouble trying that one too. Okay, but yeah, so I'm just trying to get it in the center so it'll stay. And then you can either hold it until it dries, but what I like to do is just get like a wire or something to tie around the base. And we're just gonna leave that to dry for a little bit. And then once it's dry, basically we will unravel these petals and shape them like a rose. I poured too much methylcellulose that time, but let's leave it at that for now. Let's read some chat. Okay, we got a lot of questions actually while I was working on that. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense for everyone at this point. If you want to do something while this is drying, it's a little risky, but you can add some more methylcellulose into the stem and try to thin the stem even more. So since we're on a time budget, I'm going to try to do that while I read chat. Daniel asks, what advice would I give to someone who's starting to do origami? I would tell them, fold as much as you can of things you like to fold. So then you can kind of understand what kind of origami you like. So, maybe fold a tessellation or two. Maybe you really like tessellations. Fold Joe Nakashima stuff, maybe like animals. Not everyone likes complex stuff that I make, and it's totally fine if you don't. So you just want to find what you do like and then go from there. And that's the first step I would give to beginners. And then if they're looking to get into intermediate origami, I would tell them to learn how to make their own paper, because it's going to be a lot cheaper in the long run and enable them to do a lot more things. A lot less painful learning as well. Good question. Origami has to go. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. Hi from Argentina. Yo, what's up, dude? From Argentina. Hello, hello. Shout out to Argentina. Thanks for the Sword and Shield tutorial. Hey, I'm glad you like it. Did you fold the Sword and Shield yet? Did you finish it? Sword and Shield is my favorite model. I'm glad, Evan. I'm glad I brought that tutorial. You know, even though the Square Twist Samurai tutorial won the other vote, I'm still gonna make a Sword and Shield tutorial. I think it's a really good design. Same, easy to follow. Oh, awesome, dude. I'm glad you guys liked it. It's not easy to understand diagram. It's not easy to understand in a video even either. Yeah, Sato Rose is kind of hard. I'm getting a hamster. Oh, awesome, Kian. That's really cool. Hey, maybe you can make an origami hamster to go along with your real one. Have I done any of Kimiro's designs? I haven't folded any Kimiro designs. They're pretty cool. There's some I want to do, just because the box pleating is really cool. That's, you know, up my alley, and anime also up my alley. But I haven't had the time, unfortunately. Do you have a cat? Oh, cool. That's why you touched it. When's next stream? Maybe in 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to do one next week. I might not. Depends if I finish some of my other projects first. Then in 2 weeks, I think I will. Because that's when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. And ideally, I will have a video out by then. If not, then maybe I'm still working on that one. I want to join that too. Thank you, Savageness Overloaded. So yeah, you can look at the posts tab in my channel. So I'll show you what it looks like. Go to my channel, right? Normally this is in home, and you scroll until you see posts. I'll announce the next stream there. Oh yeah, and that top post, by the way, did y'all see that? That was I reposted Jeremy Schaefer's video where he interviews me. So if you want to see me on Jeremy Schaefer's channel, go check that out. Nara, I'm in chat making some papers. If you want me to share links, yes, please drop your links, Nara. Let people know your shop. Whoa, yo, Steve. Hey, thanks, man. Thank you for the super chat. Dude, keep it up, buddy. Dude, I will, Steve. I'll keep it coming. Be more streams, more fun content, and also tutorials. Keep sharing the knowledge. Steve, I hope I get this. I don't know the next time I can make it down to Bay Area. I was gonna go to EBOK this year. Unfortunately, I can't. But you should go because Beth Johnson is gonna be there. That's gonna be really fun. I don't know if you've met Beth. I can't remember if she was at Peacock. If you haven't met Beth, you should. I think you'll really like her designs. I think she'll like your designs too. Great person. But I will go to Peacock Sacramento in November. So hopefully at least I get to see you then, if you're free to go to that as well. I don't think Sacramento is a little bit of a trip for you, but hopefully it's not too far. Dude, thank you for the super chat, man. Yeah. Ethan, it's sitting on my shelf looking more like a shower scrubby than a rose. I saw the video from Jeremy. It was a pleasant surprise. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, it's not a rose yet. We still have to do the petals. Or were you talking about a Pentagon rose? I think you're talking about this rose. Yeah, we're not done yet. Also, I think when it's in red, it definitely looks more like a rose than when it's in white. But the shaping potential is there, you know what I mean? Peacock starts in October. Sorry, October, not November. I think it's like late October. Is that right, Como? Will I ever come to India? I don't know. You know, if India has a big convention, maybe I'll show up. But it is very far for me to go to India, and very expensive. So I don't have any current plans. Oh yeah, okay, right at the end of October. Awesome. Check-in starts 10:30. Maybe I'll start purchasing my tickets to get ready for that. But I think I do have that week on my calendar already, so I can take work off and make sure I go. But yeah, I'll be there. It's gonna be fun. Jungkook Kim, unfortunately, I can't read Korean, so I'm sorry. I do not know what your chat message is saying. But hello, thanks for tuning into the stream. Really hope I can make it to Peacock this year. Yeah, I think it'll be good. The Peacock convention is, you know, one of the best conventions, I gotta say. You know, New York's special in its own way, but every Peacock is also special. So, and it's very friendly. Feel like I get to relax a little bit more during them and just get to chat with people more. We're planning to do a convention. If that idea gets big, you'll be our chief guest. Let's hope for the best. Oh, hey, there, dude. Nara's cooking, man. That's future of India origami right there. It's awesome, dude. Do you plan to do the live stream with Satoshi models like Tadashi stream? So I don't have permission for the Satoshi models. I used to, and then someone got mad at me thinking that I was breaching copyright, even though I made it very clear the live stream was not a tutorial. And what I showed started halfway into the model. So there's no way that someone could fold the Satoshi model from what I was showing on stream. But, you know, people still get upset. I just didn't want to deal with it. So I don't do that anymore, unfortunately. I always ask for permission now if I'm folding someone else's model, just to be like absolutely in the clear. Got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? And it's fine. So unfortunately, no Satoshi models. I can show them. You know, I can maybe do a little shaping, but I can't fold them. It is what it is. To Tadashi Mori, I got explicit permission. I asked for one model. He told me I can use all of his models. Very kind of him. Tadashi is a great guy. And yeah, so that's why, you know, I'll do a lot of Tadashi models in my streams, probably in the future. I still want to do another speed run with the same models I showed last time, but it's a lot of energy to do that speed run. So we'll see. I don't know the next time I'm going to try it, but I want to beat my time. I think it'd be pretty fun. Special guest for Peacock is Jun Mikawa-san and Michelle Fung. That's some great guests. I love Michelle's work. It's so cute and it's really complex. So it's a fun folding sequence. You get something absolutely adorable. Why is Tadashi Mori not uploading? He's just busy with life right now. YouTube videos take a lot more time than people realize they make, and a lot of energy, a lot of mental energy. So, you know, he's busy with other stuff in life. So unfortunately, that means no uploads. What's the hardest model I've ever designed? Probably that's a good question. Do you want the hardest model to fold or the hardest model to shape? Because I think those are two different things. Boyce, you are the reason I started making origami videos. Oh, thank you, Kian. I'm glad. Keep it up. You know, I started making YouTube videos because of Tadashi Mori, and I kept doing it years and years on end, and then it got me to the point where I can make videos with Tadashi Mori. So hey, you never know, man. If you do the hard work, you get really good at making YouTube videos. Who knows what'll happen in the future, right? But from content creator to content creator, I've basically explained my policy with other people's designs and how I respect copyright. Make sure to do that too. How about both? Okay, so the hardest model I designed in terms to fold is probably the DPA Sword and Shield. Let me find that. Okay, so I think get that crease pattern. I mean, you can just tell, right, by the crease pattern. It's kind of crazy. So I think this is the hardest one to fold, or at least it takes the longest time to fold. I think the square twist samurai is technically a little harder. If you don't count the face, but like that's a Mark co-design. Mark designed the hard parts to the square twist samurai. So I can't count that for myself, but for ones I've done myself, this one's pretty hard. If you don't do the torso and the shield in the right order, it makes it a lot worse. And then the helmet is very strange. You can see these green lines up here. It's very strange. Hold on, this is the wrong grid size. It's this. There we go. Yeah, it's very strange. Some like chibi fold. So I couldn't get these lines without the self intersection problem that we talked about earlier. It like can exist in real life. It just doesn't work nicely. So you just do those afterwards. And then the hardest one to shape, I think, is actually this one. So this is the rooted design. And it is weird to fold as well. The reason it's hard to shape is because like this square, you have to not have any creases in this area to make it look clean. And then to make the guy with the thickness of the paper is kind of hard too. So let me show what this looks like. That is this one. And this one's a little older. So like now there are some creases in this area, but you can see for the most part, it's pretty clean. Like it's got a little wrinkles in it now, but I didn't add any like hard creases into this whole area to keep it pretty clean. And then the guy, it's pretty thick, but like it very much hides the connection. It's a very scuffed connection, to be honest. But this is hard to shape. And for a while, like I didn't want people to be disappointed and try to fold the crease pattern thinking they could shape it. So I didn't have the crease pattern on my website for a really long time. But now my website is a mix of a gallery and crease pattern resource. So I put it on there so that it could be documented. But I don't really recommend people to try folding this unless they know they can shape it. Because yeah, it's not the most efficiently designed, and it's weird. It's just weird in general. Will I make a tutorial? Absolutely not. No way. I don't even want to fold this thing again. It was that much of a pain. But it's cool. I do like the finished product. I just don't like the process at all. It's pretty cool, right? '64 grid. This one, I can't remember actually. I think it was 50 something. If you count the partials. Let me check. 34. 34. So it's 34 with partial 70 seconds. It's not fun, right? Also, 34 is a weird one because it's a 17 grid to start with. No one wants a tutorial for a 17 grid that you're not even allowed to fold all the way through. Like that's probably the most painful grid you could ever tell someone to make. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. Don't fold this one, guys. It's cool, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Trust me. Trust me. It's not worth it. Um, but it's cool, right? I might make a YouTube short with it. I think it is really cool. I just don't think people should fold it. Fold something better designed, like a I don't know, like literally anything else. It's like that one and the Four Knights design is probably the worst designs in terms of designing I've done. Um, but they're cool in their own way. What's the model in front of the bunny girl? You mean these ones? These are the ones I've purchased from Anise. So Benny, who was here earlier, was talking about it. Anise is a French origami artist who designs these really cool Choiseul style esque type figures in different series. And this one was like a moon series. So it's like sun and moon. So here's his signature. I purchased it. This is the moon. This one is the sun. These are really cool, right? It's like a moon face, yes. It's like I think the theme it was like stars and carnival or like a circus. So these are like circus type characters in terms of like the body, but the heads in them are like all solar themed, cosmic themed, I guess. It's pretty sick. Yeah, that kind of creativity, man. It's crazy. If I make a tutorial soon, what do you think it'll be? I just made a tutorial, which was the sword shield, so I don't think I'm gonna make one soon. Maybe the rose. This is technically a tutorial. No, next tutorial, I don't know. I think I want to design something really, really cool that's also foldable. And then, yo, seductive noodles. Sorry if I missed that. What's up? That's my friend Andrew. I will be in New York in August. I will. Absolutely. A very specific August date. So I'll see you then, man. I'll also be there in July. So if you're free, I'll hit you up. If you're free July 20th, 18th, I can't remember. I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up. I'll be in Times Square, and then in August, you know where I'll be. So, um, dude, thanks for stopping by, man. Um, I was answering a question. I totally forgot what. Toxic Gamer, thank you for the sub. Um, tutorial. What tutorial do I make? That's right. So first I want to make something that's just like pushes my own technical ability because I just want to get better at origami. And I have an idea with the Monster Hunter design of what to do. And then after that, I want to make something equal, like visually equally appealing, but also maybe something I could show how to fold, which would be a tutorial. But I think I want to make a few options because I know people get excited every time I post something that I think is cool as well. But I want a big amount so that the very coolest one can be the tutorial. The thing that kind of sucks about making tutorials is the time I spend working on the tutorial often dulls or like restricts my ability to learn to create cooler and cooler things. So like for example, Kimiro's thing is really awesome. He doesn't make tutorials though. I don't. It'd be like impossible to make that type of thing. I have some ideas on that same scale, not necessarily as good as what Kimiro is making, but kind of on that grand scale of really visually impressive and really complex that I want to work on. But if I'm making tutorials, I just don't have the time. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to balance out like my own personal learning and what I want to fold with, you know, also providing content because I also want to give you guys tutorials as well. I just can't spam them out. Yeah, hopefully that works out. Yeah, Andrew, you definitely are a longtime follower, dude. you're watching me on Twitch in like 2017 or something like that, 2018, when I had 0 viewers. Now we're sitting at 27. Not on Twitch. You're still the only one on Twitch, but we got almost 30 viewers. I think we peaked like 35 this stream, which is pretty awesome. Big change since then. Andrew's been around since I had less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. What one of those Kimiro models would I like to do? Ooh, that's a good question, man. Honestly, the Elsa is really cool. It's really cool. I think the Dandadan is also cool, and so is the Maharaga. I don't know. Hard to say. I also like a lot of Kimiro's insects. I haven't done an insect in a while, so that might be kind of neat. But we'll see. Okay. Let's keep going on and finish off this rose. And I'll answer a few more questions towards this. And that'll be close to the end of the stream. Like I mentioned, after stream, I normally work on other projects until like 4 a.m. So it's probably going to happen tonight. So I'm going to finish up the stream and then keep working. Or relax a little bit and then keep working. This is like mostly dry. So I think we can start on the petals. Now, from here, I haven't really developed like a clear way of shaping, but the concept is similar to other origami roses out there where you just kind of outside. It's almost like an outside reverse fold because it's curved. And you do it at like an angle so that you can have that outside fold and keep the spiral. So I'm going to start with this crease because I think it works fine. And I'm doing it at an angle here so that this next one I can also outside reverse fold. And this one is more attached to the spiral. So I have to be a little careful here. And that way I can outside reverse fold it and then put it back into spiral, and then it kind of helps hold the rose in place. It's okay if it opens a little bit. So, and maybe that might have opened up too much, but now with that one, the one on top, I can kind of do the same thing. Just try to get some petals. And then once I have enough of these petals out, I can adjust where they kind of are to make it look more and more like a rose. So my paper's not like fully dry yet, but we're just going to send it because we don't have time to watch the paper fully dry. But just very carefully do this. If your paper completely unfolds because it's not dry yet, just you can use some glue it back up, right? No harm, no foul. Just got to do what you got to do. But just try to, this is now up to you to see how much you want to shape each petal. I think if you use a better paper than printer paper, you'll be able to get some nicer rose shaped details. But, very simply, you can maybe pinch the corners of your petal a little bit. And it's kind of okay. And then now we have these ones out here that will be a little bit harder to reverse. I'm going to try. I undid my spiral a little bit, but that's okay. I can always put the spiral back. One more here. Try not to rip the paper. Okay, and then let's get that back into the spiral, and it should kind of actually hold it a little bit. There you go. Just like that. All right, so it's not super great at a printer paper, but I think if you work at it and just like pay attention to the direction of some of these petals and how they fold out, um, it could look very nice. Also, if you make sure it's red. The spiral on the printer paper is like way too tight here, but ideally you can just loosen this a little bit to, be able to spread some more of these out a little bit more evenly. Like you can see like basically this half of the rose looks pretty good and then just this area doesn't. Um, I think I just need to work on that part a little bit more, but it's not terrible. Especially for a 16 grid with the stem. But yeah, I'm sure, if you use a red paper and double tissue, it's gonna look way nicer. But hopefully some of y'all were able to make a decent looking rose. Turned out okay. And overall, I think this is pretty fun to fold. And you can just spend a nice while shaping it and opening it up to center and getting a nice spiral look. So like in here, maybe if I use some tweezers. Right, then you can work on the inside a little bit. Getting the spiral open a little bit and letting those layers look more beautiful very carefully. But hey, that's not too bad, right? That's not too bad. I use glues most of the time I shape. Yeah, I think glue would work a little bit better than this. Orneko, hello for fellow origamists. Hey, thank you for tuning into the stream, man. Good to see you. Dyed one of my sheets of Legion Mulberry. I've been hanging on to forever for some. Oh, that's gonna be really fun to fold. Sloppy Bobby. Legion Mulberry. That's gonna be fun. Can you tell us where? Okay, so that's the end of the rows. I think I'll end there if you guys are. Here's here. Let's display this somehow. Do I have a box? Oh, you know what? We can do the classic. Display stand out of cloth pins. There you go. All right, pretty janky, but good enough, right? All right, so thank you for folding along. If you've folded along, feel free to ask some questions. Now I'm going to go through chat for the last little bit of this stream, and then we'll end out for the night pretty soon. But just want to give you some answers, share some origami knowledge if I can. And yeah, that was pretty fun. We designed, so quick summary of the stream. We took this design, which is the rose with the stem and the leaf, and then simplified it a lot into just a rose with a small stem. And still, it turned out decent enough. It's not perfect, but it's decent enough, I think. Not bad. But yeah. Okay. Questions. What was my first book I bought or I got? Oh, I actually have that. So that book I've shown in my origami collection video, which if you want to check that out, it's a pretty good video. It's very long, but to be fast, I'll show you the first book. These are the first books I ever got. My dad got them for me from Hong Kong when he was there for a business trip. See that? Kowloon, Hong Kong. And I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. So this book is older than a lot of you watching right now. And so I learned to read origami diagrams without words because I can't read this. I can't read Mandarin or Cantonese, the kanji. I can't read any of this at all. and as a kid, especially not. But I was able to fold some of these really simple ones, right? That's like a paper airplane. That's probably my first paper airplane. A lot of these are just traditional models or variations of them, but it was really fun. Like, look at this. Honestly, hey, this sailboat's kind of cool. Wait, low key. Yeah, that's a cool sailboat. 6 steps. That's box pleating right there. Look at that. I maybe unknowingly did a box pleat model, not ever knowing the concept of it. Super cool, right? And then same thing with this one, right? This is the pinwheel, right? Very traditional. I can show this book, right? These are all traditional models. It's a crane with like fancy wings. Little ladybug that you draw on. Simple bird, traditional bird. Whale, chicken. Right? These are all like kite bases and at most bird base. These are probably designed by other people too that just didn't get credited as well. But like, again, this is very, very old. Isn't that kind of cool? That's how I started. I had no idea about what had existed. So, you know, this was around like 2002. There was definitely complex stuff out. The Ryujin was made in 2001. So, yeah, I just didn't know about it. Good question. What is the model in front of the bunny girl? I think I answered that already. Can you tell us where that inspiration can you tell us where you get that inspiration to create an origami piece? That's a good question. That's a great question. So there's like 2 different answers for that. One of them involves something I already talked about where I try to only fold origami that I really want to fold. And a lot of times that's of objects or things or humans that I like. So if I have interest in other things, like if there's a really cool movie I like or a TV show, anime, video game, I get a lot of inspiration from that and I want to design something towards that. So like a lot of swordsmen, I like Monster Hunters and Elden Ring, Dark Souls, right? So a lot of inspiration there. Skyrim. I see a lot of medieval fantasy stuff from me. The second answer is a lot of times I reach into my like creative juices of other art I've seen because I like to look at other art. I think other artists is cool. I think it helps train my eye to get better at understanding how things are created, and that makes me better at origami. So that's where you get more conceptual things like Head Empty. And Head Empty was kind of a happy accident, but things like that, or like Alone. This one, right? Again, this is more of just like I'm practicing humans, but it's definitely got a vibe to it. And this is inspired off, you know, sculptures I had seen. Especially, this was my practice for posing. You know, it's older, so it's not fully correct, but I think it has a cool vibe to it. And that was part of like emotion and creativity. So was I feeling alone when I made this? Maybe, but it turned out cool. Same thing with like Head Empty and Rooted. Like Rooted was inspired after I visited an art gallery and saw some other art that had the concept of like a ground with an upper and lower part to it, and I wanted to make that out of origami. So we got that. Um, and then, but yeah, most of it is just creating things I like. A lot of times, if it's not an exact character, I've studied some bits of character creation. So people writing stories or draw people who make characters, artists, character artists. Like I try to listen to them talking about how do they create a character. A lot of times they um, create a story first, then create a character to match it, and that helps them create that character. It helps build those details. That advice I got from an artist named Slew. He does oil painting with like a modern twist. Um, but yeah, so that's a kind of longer answer, but short enough for now. Kimura did an awesome video yesterday. It's the best to show to a non-orgasm. Yes, so it's crazy. There's so much effort in that video. So I think what Kimura did to show the shaping is I think either his paper has foil added to it, which I think he does a lot. Crease, you can do the Korean back Korean Hanji back foil. So he can shape it, then unshape it, then reshape it and push it into the pose and let it stay. Like those who like Nara, you shape and stuff and you shape with glue. Normally you can't just push a paper into position and it stays, right? Normally we have to like glue it first so the paper's stiff and then we can move it, or you glue it in place and then move it. So I think Kimura, he like shaped it, all of it, or the part, unfolded it or unshaped it or added um foil or wire to it, then took the camera shot and reshaped it by just pushing it into place. And it's a very nice visual way to show shaping. But man, that's a lot of work. So very impressive video. Have I used super glue? I have not used super glue. Many people have told me to use it, like Bodo. He's told me and plant psychologists. They both told me like, hey, boys, you spend so much time holding things in place and letting it dry with methyl cellulose when you could just super glue it. And like, they're totally right. I don't really want to use super glue in my room because the fumes are toxic and I can't always open the window because of the temperature or weather outside. So I just haven't, maybe if I get a space where I have a studio that has good ventilation, then I'll use super glue more. But I don't really want to risk the fumes of smelling super glue all the time. And then like I sleep in the same room, so I don't want to be sleeping and inhaling excess fumes while it cures. That's just my thing. But I think it works well. I should use it for sure. Kian, you entered an origami competition, you came second. Could you show the model and tell its name? I don't have the pirate with me at the moment. I have some of those models. They are all right there. And I did a couple of videos talking about each one in the past. So I would check that out if you want extra details, but I'll pull out the coolest one, I think, and talk about it a little bit. Okay, I think this is the coolest one that I have on here. This is the squid. This is designed by Andrei Ermakov, I believe. And it's got some color change for the eyes. And what's interesting is there's some color change for the tentacles, but not all the tentacle suckers have color change. So it's like you're put in a weird position where do you think the color change is better than not color change? One of those weird things, but I think I scored pretty highly for this one. This one I shaped it very nicely. I didn't do anything too crazy, but the tentacles were very clean, I guess. This is not a easy model to fold either, but it's pretty cool. And I think I scored pretty highly on it. So pretty neat. There's also the absolutely cursed Kusudama I've shown a few times on stream, but I've showed that one before. I glue most of the time. Shape very good. I love doing origami, but most of the time I'm using printed paper. Notebook paper gets hard at times. I ripped a few. Yeah. So I gave some advice earlier for people getting into intermediate origami is to watch my ultimate paper guide so you can learn how to make double tissue. Again, part of the process, which I also include in my survey about origami skill issues, is sometimes the solution to your problem is either studying really hard so you can get a good job, or getting a job and saving up money so you can buy materials to make double tissue, which is very available internationally. I've added links. I've helped people get resources to make double tissue. You can literally do it anywhere in the world. Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, North America, Europe, anywhere, literally anywhere. So long as you find some sort of means to buy it, it's not that expensive. That will be one of the greatest steps to improving origami so that you don't have to use printed paper. And if you're fortunate enough to live somewhere like America or Europe, where most of my resources and links already provide it to, then a lot of times it's either just waiting to get a job and save up, or ask your parents for a Christmas present or something like that to get it. But just by any means, figure that stuff out for you. It'll be a good life lesson of unlocking something through personal achievement, not just waiting. I think it's and then it'll unlock origami skill too. So it's cool. I notice a big difference in the origami people can make when they're able to take that step to find a way to make paper, regardless of their living situation. There is a folder from the Philippines who lived in a really rural area where, a lot of times it's paper, which he crafted not from methyl cellulose, but from wheat starch. He found out he could do a wheat starch with water combo and get this really cheap tissue paper. It would get eaten by rats a lot at the time, right? So that's not a common problem people have. He had that problem, yet he still figured a way to make that paper efficiently enough to fold very complex origami. So, at the end of the day, anywhere in the world is possible. Some people's life situations vary day to day, but if you want it bad enough, you'll get it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's possible. Hopefully that makes sense. That's my advice to you and to anyone interested in getting in a more complex origami. Like, if you want it bad enough, you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, next question. What do I fold after 32 DPA? If you've folded DPA, you can try Square Twist Samurai. If you can do Square Twist Samurai, you should try folding some crease pattern stuff from me. Where to buy origami books? You can buy them from Origami Shop. So origami-shop.com. Make sure you put the hyphen there. What model do you think I should fold that is about the same skill level as Square Twist Samurai? You can try, if you can do the Square Twist Samurai from tutorial and you understand how the crease pattern works, you can try some of my other crease patterns like the this one. So this one from crease pattern is probably not as hard as Square Twist Samurai from crease pattern, but to do the crease pattern, it might be around the same as the Square Twist Samurai from tutorial, just less. Like, there's a lot less features, so it won't take as long. But I think it'll be good to practice shaping. And also the fingers are an experimental structure I used, which is actually pretty hard to collapse. So it might be fun challenge if you like that. The rest of it's pretty easy. But from crease pattern, right, that might be a good challenge. From that moment, did you know that you're going to end up creating origami? I think when I folded the Darkness Dragon by Tadashi Mori, that's when I knew I wanted to fold origami. That was a game changer for me. Thoughts of designing Black Myth Wukong? Super cool. I don't think I can do a better job at doing a Wukong than Soma Cruise, right? That one is kind of the origami Wukong. I also haven't had time to play the game, so I think it's really cool. I don't think I'll get to it. Nara, if you want to take that on, that'd be really cool, man. I think that's kind of up your alley, especially with things with like a staff. That'd be really cool. All right, see you, Ethan. Good night. Thank you for tuning in. Bodo is a madman. That is very true. Bodo is an absolute madman. I love that guy, dude. He's a great guy. Absolute madman. When I was a child. When I had those books, that was just for fun. I think when I was a kid, the most exciting thing was paper airplanes. Because, I just throw them, right? As a kid, rampant kid, you just throw things. I don't know. It's fun. I didn't quite get into origami. Like, I could make the other stuff and it was fun, but like the most fun was airplanes for sure as a kid. I'm sure if I was introduced to the complex stuff earlier, then I would have wanted to do them. I just didn't know about it. I thought the extent of origami was, in those books. And then eventually I got the Origami Sea Life by John Montrell and Robert Lang. And I guess that was the first time I was introduced to complex stuff besides Tadashi Mori. It's just like that complex stuff I couldn't do because I didn't have the paper. I just had printer paper and stuff. But Tadashi Mori Darkness Dragon, that's when I had the paper relatively to try it. Will there be a tutorial? Tutorial for which one? But probably not. Taking a little break from tutorials for now. I use super glue too. It's so difficult to manage because it touches your hair. Yeah, that is the other thing. You gotta avoid putting it on your skin, and it can ruin models. Yeah, if you get it on the surface of a model, it like stains paper as well if it's a light color. It's kind of hard. Are you gonna do another collab with Plant? Yeah, I want Plant to come to the New York convention this year. I think he's able to because he's gonna be graduated from school. It just depends what projects he has over the summer or work. So if he's available, then we'll do another collab. I did 2 big ones basically with him last year because I visited Boston in the spring. We had the pentagonal head empty, and then I went to Origami in November, and we did the speed battle together. So anytime me and him can be in the same room, we'll do a collab for sure. I can't visit Boston as much this year. I think I went to Boston like 3 times last year. I can't do it as much this year, but we'll try. And by Peacock Sacramento, he might actually be back in the Bay Area. So who knows? Maybe we'll have 2 origami conventions with Boyce and Brandon. I really hope so. I like Plant a lot. You guys probably know that. Last question. Which intermediate origami book do I suggest? Intermediate origami book. That's a good question. I think any of the Nicholas Terry books are pretty good, especially the Vietnamese Origami Group 2 book, because that has intermediate and complex models that are very varied. So normally I would recommend just get a book of the subject you like a lot. So if you like fish and marine animals, get one with marine and fish and animals like that. If you like dragons, get Dragons Premium, right? Oh, that's a good one too. Get Dragons Premium. You'll probably like it. But the Vietnamese Origami Group 2 book has a lot of varying things if you don't know what you like to fold. Also, the Tantadon convention books, they're a lot more expensive to get, but if you can get your hands on those, which you can buy them from Paper Tree, that has tons of models. That'd be good for getting yourself from intermediate to complex. Okay, I'll answer just a few more questions and then I am going to dip. I should drink some water first. Are you aware that you are an inspiration for origami men like me? Dude, thank you, man. Whenever I hear that comment, I see you guys in the chat. It means a lot to me. Doing this YouTube thing and designing for a while, like I was never the best at anything, right? I was getting good, maybe better than most people and discovering new stuff. But I was never like the best at anything. So that gave me a lot of like, what do they call it? Imposter syndrome for a while. And I think it didn't really hit me until 2 years ago at Peacock when Robert Lang said that I was an inspiration. Then it really clicked. Like it super clicked. So now I am aware and I'm very thankful and I want to be responsible with the things I do to be able to share knowledge and stuff like that. And it's really like it's a cool place to be able to do that for people. I think when I started my channel, because I was so inspired by Tadashi Mori and how he just did origami, that's what I wanted to aspire to as well. And, keep pushing. So I think I've achieved part of that goal, and I'll keep doing it and hopefully we'll be here for a while. Do you have any other YouTuber recommendations? So for intermediate and beginner, Joe Nakashima, Tadashi Mori, I think there's enough between those two. If you want complex, then there's me, there's Brandon Wong, there is Kimiro. He doesn't really have tutorials. Trying to think of someone with maybe Jeremy Schaefer for beginner intermediate. Someone for complex with tutorials. There's some old ones you can find from like Seth Friedman, I think. There's not too many people doing tutorials like I do them. I'm not gonna recommend Mariano. You can go if you want, but I don't recommend that. I'll have to think about it. But if you go to my channel and you look at recommended channels, I think I have some recommended channels down there. You can go check some of those out. Bodo's got a channel, right? I don't think there's tutorials on there, but go check that out. How do you do hex pleating? I explained it in a different stream before. It's I don't have enough time to explain it now, but I think the plant psychologist has a video on that as well. You can go try that. Steve was there when Robert said that. Yeah, my jaw dropped. It was a moment. It really was a moment, man. It was pretty big for me. I feel like you're an idol for so many people. I hope I'm not an idol. I hope I can just inspire people. I don't want people to treat me like I'm just a regular dude, you know, that ended up learning origami. And I think a lot of other people can replicate if I share the information correctly. But thank you, man. that means a lot. All right. I think we're going to end it off at that. Very wholesome for our Valentine's special. So thank you everyone for coming out and hanging out with me as I made this kind of scuffed rose, but hey, maybe it's cool. It from this angle, it looks pretty decent, right? And I think the form is pretty cool, like from this angle too. So yeah, thank you everyone. I hope you have a nice start of your day. If you're in like India, Southeast Asia, Europe, it's really late at night, but hope you have a great Saturday. For everyone in America, I hope you have a good evening and night and have a great weekend. So yeah, happy Valentine's Day. I'll see y'all soon. I'll be reposting some collaborative videos I've been a part of. Look out for those until next stream. But yeah, at least in 2 weeks. And then it should be pretty cool. All right, have a good one. I'll see y'all later.